Oh man, so close. So close to beating Trek Yards. They went live like 5 seconds before me. Hello all, let me get my tablet ready so you guys can watch the little countdown screen as I get set up here. Today we are watching Deep Space Nine, If Wishes Were Horses. I don't know, I guess that must be from something. I don't get the title. There's certainly no horses in this episode. Thank you, John Araki, for the $1 super chat. Greatly appreciated. Thomas Potts with a $1.99 super chat. Says, Bird, it's supposed to be Move Along Home. And let me lower the music a bit. Yes, in Space Engineers earlier today, Thomas told me I had hit my head and I forgot. And that it is indeed Move Along Home I'm supposed to be reviewing today. Well, Thomas, you know, I had that head injury, so I forgot. So don't hold it against me. You know what? It still has a minute on the countdown, but what the hell? We can start, because I'm not starting the review right this second, so we might as well just go live early. Qapla! And welcome to another Wednesday. And let me shut off the audio. This way you guys don't hear it when I do start listening, because I know I'll forget. It is Wednesday, and we're actually watching If Wishes Were Horses, the Deep Space Nine episode, Season 1, Episode 15 on Netflix, Episode 16 for just about everywhere else. And this I remember as a fun episode. This is one of the few fun episodes of Deep Space Nine. Of course, Trials and Tribulations, perhaps the most fun episode. John Araki with another $1 super chat. Thank you, John Araki. I hope you get what you're looking for, my friend. So yeah, If Wishes Were Horses, obviously If Wishes Were Alpacas would have been a much better name. But we have what we have. We get Rumpelstiltskin in this episode. We get little Molly running out of her bedroom and saying, Rumpelstiltskin's in my bedroom. We get Bashir getting his fantasies fulfilled with his very own Dax. And we get, I forget his name, the famous baseball player, not famous to us, but famous in the episode. He played in the very last World Series in the year 2042, when there were only 300 people in the stands. What a shame, the death of baseball. And there's actually, if you watch the Deep Space Nine documentary, I'm not sure if it's in the main stuff or if it's in the add-on stuff, the deleted scenes and the stuff they couldn't fit in. I think it's in the stuff they couldn't fit in. There's a point where Stephen Ira Bear talks about, because the guy who wrote this episode was a tremendous baseball fan. He loved baseball. So it seems like, why did you kill baseball? Deep Space Nine, officially the series that killed baseball, and this is the episode that did it. Not Ryan Johnson with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Not Ryan Johnson. He's donating to the Kuroga Alpaca Fund. Thank you, Not Ryan Johnson. As you know, Kuroga is looking to, we're looking to not adopt, but, what's that? When you have animal sanctuary. We're going to make a giant alpaca sanctuary in the middle of Kuroga so that all the alpacas can roam free. Now, because alpacas are hunted Like, who hunts alpacas? Turdistanes. See, Turdistanes are so without meat. They hunt alpacas, which are like the most docile of all the, you know, even cows get more angry, you know, when you try to eat them than alpacas. So Turdistanes have been, you know, dropped down to chasing alpacas for food, and we don't want that to happen in Quiroga. So we're going to put them in their own sanctuary, and Turdistanes will be shot on sight. So that's where we go. So let me read the comments. Also, actually, you know what, guys? Go to my Discord right now. Let me bring my Discord up, because you're gonna need to use it today. If there's gonna be a way to watch Deep Space Nine with me for real, the actual video and audio, as my friends, we will have an option of watching it. It's going to be a link that I'm only going to put in my Discord, and the link to my Discord I will put in the chat. But for anybody who's watching this later, unfortunately, you know, people only going to get to watch it with me. So if you're watching this later, this link won't be there, and the watching it with me won't be an option. However, you can still watch the little video clips, screenshots that'll be in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. But this is something new. I don't know if we'll ever do it again. I'm going to try it. We will see what happens. Let me get the link to my Discord here, which it's on birdwillpray5.com. Also, if you guys want the link there, but let me give you guys a direct link. Come on. And John Araki, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. Again, I see you got Dax from Trials and Tribulations. Also Eyebrow Dax, which isn't bad. Not the one you were looking for, but isn't bad. Invite people. Invite people. You know what? Let's do this. We're going to... If you guys want to come to my Discord server and you are watching this right now, then by all means, follow the link I'm putting in the chat right now. My Discord. Okay, that link, however, expires in 1 day. So if you're watching this later, don't follow that link. You can go to my Discord. You can join my Discord by going to birdwillpray5.com and clicking on the link to go to Discord. And Joseph Patrick, thank you so much, Joseph. Oh, Dax was actually yours. Okay, Joseph. Thank you very much for your donation. John Araki, thank you for your $1 super chat. I guess you got something else. I'm sorry, I was in the middle of it. Thank you, Joseph. So yeah, if you go to my Discord and then excuse me, in the off-topic section of my Discord, off-topic main channel, I'm going to put in link to watch DS9 live with me. Okay. Now that is a link if you guys want to go to it. It's in off-topic main. You can go to it now. It's not going to play until I set it to play. You will watch with me. But it says link to watch DS9 live with me. And it's a link to a website. Now this is a website I've used with friends many times before when we want to share videos with each other and we all want to stay synced. I don't know how well it will work with this. It's always worked well for me in the past. Now I'm not going to be reading Discord, so don't comment in Discord. If you do go to that page, there's also a comment box where you can comment while watching the video. Feel free to comment amongst yourselves. That's not going to get saved or broadcast, nor will I be reading it. I don't think I'll be reading it. But it's there if you want to use it. And of course, if you just want to either watch it on your own, on Netflix, or your own DVDs, that's of course fine as well. And if you have nothing to watch it with and you just want to watch it in the bottom corner, you're free to just watch the screenshots to follow along as I comment. Now, the only thing that's going to be a little issue is when we're watching it live, if you're watching it with me on the website I've linked to, and we got one person in there right now. So that if you guys who want to watch it with me on here, you will be, I'll be commenting, obviously, on what you were seeing, but you won't hear those comments for 20 or 30 seconds or so on YouTube. So just be aware that my commentary is going to be a little bit behind. And I suggest, you lower the volume a bit when I hit play so that you can definitely hear me commenting through YouTube. Please do not leave the YouTube channel to watch the Deep Space Nine episode. Although technically you could. Please don't. I'd much rather you stay on the YouTube channel. So Swadeberg is first, maybe. Maybe. So you see, yes. So if anybody else wants to go there, we've got a few minutes. I'm going to read through these comments and then we're going to get started with the video. So before I started the video, Joseph Petrick claimed first at 4:36 p.m., about 30 minutes before I went on. Anti-Trekker says, hey, about 15 minutes later. I told everybody we were starting soon at 4:56, and then at 4:59, Joseph said he liked the video in good faith. And I've never switched to live chat. Well, isn't that a pickle? Let me switch to live chat on this, not on here, because then we might lose it. John Araki says, Qapla, John Araki. John Araki, I think you were first. After I started streaming. Thomas Potts says, hi. Thomas says, Bird of Prey, can you send me your address on Discord sometime? I want to send you something. I can. We've got to make sure it's nothing dangerous, nothing Turdistani in design. Ryan Bush says, how are you all doing, mods? Welcome, Ryan Bush. I hope you're still here. I am assuming most of the people are doing good. John Araki says, screw Trek Yards, alpaca life. Well, I don't think we want to screw Trek Yards. We like Trek Yards, but yes, alpaca life. Anti-Trekker says, no horses, but lots of alpacas. Multi-Gunman says, hey, Bird, how's it going? It's going good, Multi-Gunman. Thanks for asking. And, of course, Multi-Gunman is claiming first, because why not? John Street says, down with the we want to be evil god dictator of Karoga. Well, I'm not evil, so that's fine. Rambling Canuck puts in all caps. Oh, he erased it. But something about he was sorry he hasn't been around this week. I think he says his back's hurting and he has the flu. Rambling Canuck, we understand and we just want you to get better, man. I'm glad you checked in because we were getting a little bit concerned, but, feel better. It wasn't the flu, just a mild cold for a few days, and I had to take a full day off for it to really get out of my system. So let me go. Anyway, I'm not evil, so obviously I can't be the evil god dictator. Mike Richards says, alpaca are wimps, king of the llamas. Wow. The Multi-Gunman says, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one DS9 episode, and that episode is Move Along Home. Well, Mike Multi-Gunman, I don't know what to tell you, but you're wrong. Joseph Petrick says, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. It's a proverb and nursery rhyme, first recorded about 1628 in a collection of Scottish proverbs. Well, thank you, Joseph Petrick. That was very helpful. So, okay, nursery rhymes. Is Rapunzel in it? Because maybe that's the connection. Not Ryan Johnson says, hello in Qapla, just in time for my drive home. Hello in Qapla, not Ryan Johnson. John Street says, Bird, if you had the alpaca named Sassy 2.0, you wouldn't have hit your head. John Araki says, Bird fell, hit his head, and then invented the flux alpacator. And the mic was on for that. I'm sorry. I thought I shut the mic off. I try to prevent the most egregious coughing, but yeah, good deal. So I hit my head and I designed the flux capacitor, the flux alpacator, I guess. Yes. 3 alpacas head to head in a triangle, and that makes time-traveling alpacas possible. Of course, the problem is the alpacas need to make it up to 88 miles per hour without help, which is quite difficult for an alpaca or any land. Well, I guess, yeah, pretty much any land animal. I think any animal. I don't think any animal can fly 88 miles an hour. Maybe some birds can dive at 88. Life with Matthew says, go Joe. Thank you. Mulder Gunman says, fun fact, Rumpelstiltskin is a Turtistani, but of course, that's a given. The Turtistani president is a hobbit, so I believe we have a theme going there. I see what you're saying. Life with Matthew says, how's it going? It's going well. Life with Matthew. Anti-Trigger says, if you really like alpacas, you should go to the Carogan McDonald's. That is fake news. The McPaca is not an alpaca. Okay, trust me. Cinnabon Bunny says, hello, welcome Cinnabon. And thank you, Cinnabon, for initiating that safe zone in Space Engineers that destroyed all of our ships. Yes. Multi-Gunman says, Kurdistani KFC is made from pigeons. Oh, man. Anti-Trigger says, Cinnabon, hey, you're not allowed to chat. You're supposed to be fixing our base. Well, I guess Cinnabon's going to be busy for a while. John Araki says, Lower Deck, Season 1, Episode 1, Hump Along Home. It's possible. Rambling Canuck says, hi, Bird and all. Welcome, Rambling Canuck. I hope you're feeling better. I know you're not. I read your comment later on. Here it is. Sorry, been away, back and flu been down, but we'll try to live stream tomorrow. Rambling Canuck, make sure your health comes first, obviously. If you do stream, we'll try to be there. Azine says, greetings, folks. Welcome, Azine. And then I put in the link to my Discord. Cinnabon says, I found you a gift. I'm on my way back with it. I guess that he means Anti-Trigger. Live with Matthew says, lol, I just realized I never set the video I uploaded today to public. It's just a rerun. Interesting. Joseph Petrick says, Bird of Prey, tax was actually mine. Oh, right. Right, we had this confusion. But thank you, Joseph, for the donation via Streamlabs. John Araki says, no tax for Johnny. The Multi-Gunman says, don't click on that link, guys. Bird's messing with us. It's a link to Pornhub. It's not a link to Pornhub. If I wanted a link to Pornhub, I would just post it, but I don't. John Araki says, Anti-Tracker works at Pornhub. He might. He's not authorized to tell us he doesn't. Life with Matthew says, John Araki, that statement could mean several different things. Well, Pornhub doesn't create the porn, so don't get excited. Multi-Gunman says, John Araki, she's doing Beagle. What? Oh. Oh, anti the dog, because he did say anti, not anti-trekker. I get it. Anti-trekker says, did he just say Turtistani's designs are dangerous? Really? Coming from the guy who has crashed more ships into mountains than anyone in history. That's only because I record them. God knows how many ships you've crashed, but we never get to see them. The one ship I did see, you crashed it into Bird Butte and crashed the game. You crashed so hard. Anti-Tracker says the guy who thinks alpacas are turkeys. That was one time I was confused between a llama and an emu, okay? It had nothing to do with an alpaca, and I said I'm sorry. The guy that thinks crash and burn is a perfect landing. If you can walk away from it, it's a good landing. Multi-Gunman says those mountains came out of nowhere, you know it. In fact, some of them did. Okay, because the game just lags, and all of a sudden you're right in front of a mountain. Rambling Canuck said he's sorry, he might live stream tomorrow. It's okay, Rambling. Hope you feel better. Anti-Trigger says, I'm not evil. You know who says that? Google. No, Google used to say it, but they had the good sense to remove it from their company motto. Multi-Gunman says, Anti-Trigger, I believe Kuroga and Google are part of the axis of evil circa 1933. Cinnabon is lolling. Joseph says, Rapunzel is from a German fairy tale from the Grimm Brothers collection. Some of them are actually gory. Yes. In fact, I believe Chief O'Brien mentions that in this episode. Anti-Trigger says he's very multi-gunman was very true, whatever he said. Livewood Matthew says, wait, is this about our ships being destroyed? Your ship, Livewood Matthew, your drilling ship is okay because it was attached to the base, but any ships not physically attached to the base got wiped away when the safe zone got turned on. Now, he did, I believe he said he was going to, I believe he did. He copied them. He had the good sense to copy them first before he turned on the safe zone. So he then pasted them back in, but I believe due to a bug in the game, the ships can't actually enter the safe zone. So I think probably the ships are outside the safe zone. Also, Life with Matthew, since you're here, heads up, unless you can enter the game while Cinnabon is in the game, if you enter the game and you're in the safe zone, which you are because of where your cryo tube was, you're going to get pushed out of the safe zone as soon as you come out of your cryo tube. Possibly as soon as you log in. Now, you're not going to die, I'm told, but you are going to get pushed out. So you can either go to the landing site and hang out there until Cinnabon whitelists you, or you can, I don't know what, do whatever you want. But Cinnabon is going to have to actually whitelist you, Ozzy, Admiral Saval, and Commander Shutter if he ever comes back and joins the game and comes back to Kuroga. Apparently, yes, both have to be online at the same time for him to whitelist you so that you can enter the safe zone. Once we have the base mostly built, we might be able to edit it so that we don't have to keep people out of the safe zone. But if we shut off drilling, then there's no drilling and no grinding and no building. So it's like, I don't know what I want to do. So for now, I put it, let's keep people out, but let us build. And when we're done building, like that ever happens, when we could turn off building and damage and then let anybody in. It's difficult, but at least we don't need to waste resources on making guns to shoot at the meteor storms. Not at the main base. At the landing site, I put one Gatling gun on the roof now, to hopefully shoot down any incoming missiles if they get too close. And that's the Space Engineers update. Where are we? Cinnabud says your ships were thrown into orbit for some reason. Josh Street says no, the McPaca is no, it's not made from beagles. Thomas tells Cinnabon his check is in the mail. Chris Purser says Qapla, Berto Brave 5 Qapla, Chris. And the chat. And the cheetah can go between 100 and 120 miles per hour. 100 miles an hour? Really? It's not that I don't believe you, but Alexa, how fast is a cheetah?
A cheetah can reach speeds of around 75 miles per hour, 120 kilometers per hour, but only in short bursts.
Alexa, cancel. Alexa says 120 kilometers per hour, which is about 75 miles per hour, which is only in short bursts. So I don't know. I mean, even 75 is a lot to believe, but it's more believable than 120. I don't know. I don't know who's right. She might be wrong. I'm not saying, but that seemed a lot more. I thought right around 75, 80 miles an hour was the land speed max. I don't remember where I read it, but that was my thought. Multi-gunman, wow. Sorry about that. My voice is going. Multi-gunman says Thomas Potts, the Turdistani post office, puts anthrax. Oh, man. Yosef says also is Rumpelstiltskin. That is actually this episode, yes. Thomas says, I ran into my base at full speed because it didn't render in time. You know, that's another issue I'm having on the new server that I don't remember having before, is that the bases don't render until, like, you're really close. And I could imagine in space that's got to be even worse. Because at least on Earth, I know, hey, those trees look familiar. I need to start slowing down. But, you know, if in space, if there's nothing to judge by, that could be a problem. Josh reads his bird of prey over the video chat. Sassy is on and said something. Sassy O'Prey, down with my human and more good food that Mom O'Prey gives me. And Mike Richards said, shoot those pesky meteors. Well, I don't know. Some of those meteors bring in nice uranium and other exotic minerals. So I don't know that I hate them. I just don't want them crashing into our stuff. And they've also made our ice lake so cratered it looks like a teenager's face. It's not good. I like nice flat. I thought we were gonna have a nice flat, nice looking lake. And it's all been like, looks like a frickin' Iraqi war zone. It's for you.
Call from.
Okay, sorry about that. So Chris says, sorry, I remembered the numerical value, but the wrong unit of measurement. Not a problem, Chris. Probably better than I would have guessed. Anyway, you know, that was still very good. And Josh reads his breaking news. Bird of prey likes flat women. No, I like flat lakes. Okay, flat lakes, not flat women. Believe me. So, not that there's anything wrong with it, I guess, but I certainly prefer a woman with a more ample. I want their chest to be bigger than my chest. Let's put it that way. Anyway, so here, let's get ready. I don't know if anybody is at that website again one more time. If you go to my Discord channel, which I will put in the link, I will put in the chat one more time. If you go to my Discord channel and then you go to the off-topic main channel of my Discord, there will be a link in there in which you can watch. It says link to watch DS9 live with me. If you click on that link, it will bring you over to this website that we can all watch together. And I see we've got Life with Matthew, we got Joseph Patrick, and we got Sassy. Sassy O'Prey 5 are already there. And people are having conversations amongst themselves. I guess Josh Street left, but he was there for a short time. Maybe he changed his name. So, in about 2 minutes, we're going to start. So if you want to follow along, if you want to watch it live with me as I watch, go to my Discord, follow that link, and come to this website. And you can watch with me, audio, video. You're watching as my friend, the same as if you were in my house. I'd invite you over and we'd all watch Deep Space Nine, but I can't because obviously I'm physically unable to. But I have no qualms sharing it, but this will only be while we watch it live. Once this is done, this link is going to go away and it's not going to be watchable. However, if you're watching it later, watch it down in the bottom corner of the screen and you will see the screenshots more or less in sync with what the rest of us are watching. So, let me check for any other comments. I put it in. And Chris says, so Bird prefers driving on a road with curves over a straight road. Completely understandable. Well, it's safer driving on a road with curves. To be completely honest, it's also more fun. It is certainly more fun. Plus, if you're going up and down a mountain, you need curves. You need curves to switchbacks. So, okay, guys. Well, I guess we're going to get ready to watch. Let me make sure my audio is off. It is. So you guys watching on YouTube won't hear it, but you guys watching on the website will. And if you guys do come in late, you're always able to. You can still come to Discord and follow the link, and you'll be able to, start watching where I'm watching. It'll sync up. And yeah, so that's all good. So I guess we're gonna get ready. Oh, and guys, please, if you want me to read your chat from here on out, please use @BirdO'Prey5, or of course you could super chat, and I'll read it. Otherwise, I will try to hold off and only read what's vitally important or really makes sense for what we're watching. And one last disclaimer. Again, I'm going to do this in the form of commentary while we watch. I'm not going to give the play-by-play because I assume you're either watching on your own on Netflix, watching your own DVD, or have seen the episode before recently enough that you know what's going on. Or you're just following along in the screenshots down in the corner, and you don't really care that much. So yeah, I'm not going to give you the play-by-play, just commentary as it goes. I do like Switchback Mountains. Not Brokeback Mountains, Switchback Mountains. Big difference. Big difference. Okay, guys, so I'm going to hit play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Now, if you guys don't see it started, actually, yeah, it probably started already for you guys who are watching live, because I'm a few seconds ahead of you in audio. Well, YouTube's going to be a few seconds behind. So we got Odo and Quark Odo and Quark at the beginning of this episode, and Quark is trying to convince Odo to use the holosuite, and Odo's saying he don't have time for fantasies, and it's a waste of time, the holosuite. Too many people dream of places they'll never go. And Quark is saying he could make a shapeshifter playmate for Odo, and Odo's disgusted by it. And now Odo sees Cisco and Nog going to the holosuite, and he says, "You're not allowing young Mr. Cisco to go to the holosuite." And Quark says, "It's not what you're thinking. It's baseball." He's wearing a baseball mitt. Apparently, holosuites, and I guess it makes sense, up until this point, nobody on Deep Space Nine ever used the holosuites for anything other than, prostitution. Or not prostitution, because you're not paying anybody. You're paying Quark. But it's basically been used for pornography. So nobody had any other thought of ever using the holosuite for anything other than pornography. But until, I guess, humans came, and now we're going to do baseball. So Quark is talking about going into family entertainment, that it's going to be rides and games for the kiddies and all these things. He's realizing, and Odo just says you're going to replace the sexual programs with family entertainment. And Quark says, no, not replace, expand. He's negotiating to get new space next to the holodecks to put in new holosuites. So now we get over to Bashir and Jadzia, and Jadzia is saying, are you sure you're not exaggerating? And Bashir is saying, no, you're constantly in my thoughts, like he's like a 15-year-old boy that can't think about anything else. And he's like, I constantly think about you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, that's sweet, but no. Jadzia says, you're a wonderful friend, which he knows. He knows he's been friend-zoned. Friend-zoned, and he says she's driving a stake through his heart. Jadzia says try a high-pitched sonic shower, which I guess is a cold shower. And he's like, no, it won't. I already tried it. Poor Bashir, always trying and striking out with Dax. So Dax comes to Ops, and Cisco asks how was dinner with the doctor, young doctor, and she says young, meaning too young for her. So there's some unusual, neutrino readings or something, and they had a theory, and Dax like, yeah, it could be because there's so many more ships coming through that area of space now. It seems like a very minor inconvenience, and so Dax goes to work trying to figure out what's going on. Now we're in the O'Brien's quarters, and O'Brien is he's reading from a pad, which actually looks a lot like a full color Amazon Kindle or any type of other tablet you might have. He's reading the Rumpelstiltskin story to Molly in the bed, and he's doing voices. It's all good stuff. So apparently, I didn't know. I never heard Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, I knew it was a some type of fairy tale or whatever you want to call it, but I didn't know the details. apparently Rumpelstiltskin gets pissed when people say his name. And he'd make the bets if people could guess his name. Now, I don't know how the person in the story ever guessed his name, because let's face it, would you ever guess Rumpelstiltskin? No, I would never guess Rumpelstiltskin, not in a bajillion years. So, how did they do it? I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. I'm curious now. So, they put her to bed, and now Keiko and O'Brien are saying, oh, let's make another baby, maybe. Well, not exactly. I'm paraphrasing. But then Molly comes out, and you can see the little child actress. She's looking over to the side, like, all the time, trying to get your directions for what to do. But I gotta say, for a kid that young to actually be able to act, that's pretty impressive. Even if she has to look over to the side for direction a lot. So, of course, she comes out and says, Rumpelstiltskin's in my bedroom, Daddy. And O'Brien's like, oh, no, he's not, but I'll go in and look. And there's the big reveal. Rumpelstiltskin is sitting there. He's there to offer his services. And we get the opening credits. So guys, if you got here recently, if you go to my Discord link that I posted up a few minutes ago, and in my Discord, you go to Off Topic Main. In Off Topic Main is a link that'll bring you to another website that you can watch Deep Space Nine live along with me. Audio, video, everything. You're watching my copy of Deep Space Nine. And I'm sharing it with my friends, but it's only temporary. It's only during this live stream. Once the live stream is over, it's gone. You won't be able to watch it. You can still follow along, though if you're watching this at a later time, by following with the screenshots in the corner. And you guys will let me know if this is working. If you like it, I'll keep doing it. If you don't like it, if you don't care for it, then if it proves troublesome, then I won't do this anymore. And I'll just do it like we've been doing it. But I thought some people might appreciate being able to watch it with me. Life with Matthew says, ew, Bashir is kind of stalkerish at the beginning. Yeah, not really. Jadzia doesn't tell him to completely stop. He's trying hard. He's desperate. Abic says, awake from a nap. I feel so much better. Very cool. And Anti-Trigger says, wow, Bird has never heard the story of Rumpelstiltskin. No, I mean, I heard of Rumpelstiltskin, but not the actual story. So Bird, the way they guess his name is that one of the parents sneaks off and listens to him say his own name. So they cheated. So they're back in the O'Brien's quarters. O'Brien has Keiko take Molly and leave. And Rumpelstiltskin's like, shame you're sending the ladies away. Rumpelstiltskin is going around his quarters, like handling everything, dropping things. Oh, hey, want straw? He's like, where's the straw? I assume you want gold spun from straw. And so O'Brien asks, who is he? And he says, surely you must know. You were just telling the little one all about me. And O'Brien was about to say his name. And he said, no, don't say it. And then O'Brien says Rumpelstiltskin, and the guy got pissed. He's like, what do you think? I was going to break in two and disappear? Not this time. I learned my lesson. So now a couple of security officers come in, phasers drawn, and Rumpelstiltskin says, you guys, nice of you to come. And he's like, you guys, I'm too fast for you anyway. O'Brien tells him to to take the guy, and he just disappears and reappears on the other side of him. And he's still saying, well, if gold's not what you want, you let me know what you want. We'll make a price. I mean, I'll be honest, Rumpelstiltskin's been nothing but, honorable to this point. He's just like, he wants to know, hey, what do you want? Just tell me what you want. Tell him you want him to leave, maybe. I don't know. It would work. Wouldn't hurt to try. So now Jake comes back to his quarters, and a baseball player has followed him home from the holodeck. So Cisco's like all confused, and now we're in Bashir's quarters. Dr. Bashir is sleeping, fully clothed in his Starfleet uniform, with his communicator on him, and supposed Dax comes in and wants to start making kissy with him, and Bashir pulls out a tricorder, which he must have been sleeping with too, because hey, why not, right? This is Deep Space Nine. We sleep with our comm badges on and our tricorders in our pockets, just in case our sex-crazed co-workers come to us, trying to make love to us in the middle of the night, and I have to scan them to make sure they're real, I guess. So Dax is like, why are you fighting this? And Bashir is like, you're right, why am I fighting this? And he starts to go with it, and that's when Kira comes on and says, all senior officers come to ops. And now Bashir thinks it's a joke because this was just a joke on him, but he's going to find out it wasn't. Wesley says, hey man, welcome Wes. So, to Herman Bokai is the baseball player, and Cisco just introduced him to Dr. Bashir and Dax. Now Cisco still thinks that's the real Dax, and now he's also showing off Rumpelstiltskin, and nobody knows how they got on the station. The baseball player says, don't ask me, I just appeared. Of course, it's Thoron emissions. And now the real Dax shows up using one of those scenes where it's like, we're supposed to believe the real Dax has been hearing the entire conversation, so she can just continue it. Says, I think you better ask me, Benjamin. But you would never have heard that conversation. You were in a turbo lift when that conversation was going on. So it's something they do in TV shows, and it kind of pisses me off. But it's minor. It's a minor detail, but it is a nitpick. There's no way she'd be able to just jump into that conversation. Also, I don't think that she'd be so... I don't think she'd be so okay or unsurprised that Bashir has her duplicate there. I think that would have thrown her for a little loop. But no, they make it seem like she's still so much more advanced than us that she almost knew this was going to happen. So, the baseball player is saying he remembers all the games. He remembers when he remembers everything, and Cisco's saying he programmed it all into the computer. Every statistic. And Rumpelstiltskin's asking what are they speaking, what language? And so apparently they realize they're not all coming out of the holosuites, because Rumpelstiltskin came out of O'Brien's imagination, and then the Dax copy came out of Bashir's imagination, and she still got her hands all over him. So now real Dax is trying to figure out what could possibly be causing this. Joseph says, Bird of Prey, I like this format. Definitely continue. The episode is a few seconds ahead of your stream. However, it can only be me. Well, it's going to be a few seconds ahead at least. Yosef, because YouTube has a delay, whereas the video sharing, it does not. But yeah, there's going to be a difference. I'm glad you guys like it. Qapla, Mr. Londell. So Odo's reporting problems on the promenade. As you can imagine, if everybody's imagination started running wild, you would think it would be a lot worse than it currently is. Like, why does Dax not have an imagination? Where is Dax's imagined? Mr. Lundell says he never liked this episode. Too much of a roundaway bout to warn them what was going to occur. I like this episode. At least I remember liking this episode. I remember it being a pretty fun episode. You know, a little bit more humor than the average DS9 episode. Rumpelstiltskin is asking if there's anything he can do to help. He's still being very nice. So there's an alpaca. There's an alpaca. Okay, no, it's more of an ostrich-like creature running around the promenade. But if there was ever going to be an alpaca, it would have been this episode. Of course, Quark. We're going to Quark's, and Odo's going to see everybody's winning, and they're throwing money down to each other. They're winning so much, and Odo is closing the establishment or something. Odo says, "Ladies and gentlemen, and all androgynous creatures." Odo saying, "We're having some technical difficulties. I'm going to have to ask you all to refrain from using your imagination." Hilarious. Hilarious. Of course, Quark comes in with two attractive women on his side, and he says, he's basically turning the entire station into a vast holosuite, and Quark is like, I'm happy. Take their time in trying to figure it out. And Odo is saying, "I'm surprised at your reaction." And Quark is like, "Well, you don't have imagination. You wouldn't understand." And Odo's like, "No, I mean, all the people are winning. They're taking you to the cleaners, Quark." Yeah. And Quark is looking around. He's like, "What? No, that can't be happening." See, now, why doesn't Quark's imagination that he wants everybody to lose their money, why doesn't that work? But whatever. Whatever. So Quark could just close the games and tell everybody to leave, and then enjoy his two women. Wesley says, "Remember the Great Emu War." Anti-Tracker says, "Oh, turkey, emu, alpaca, all the same to bird. Maybe bird is not the best name." Joshua says, "Bird of prey, how can you mistake an emu for an alpaca?" I was just hoping it was an alpaca, okay? Rock Solid Productions says, "Don't forget, people, smash that like button, share via social, set to live. Don't forget to turn the mic on before streaming. Donate if you can. Thank you to the nerd community. And downward Turtistan. Thank you so much, Rock Solid." And I listened to the vast majority of your stream. Earlier, it was very well put. There was no words. So Dax is actually apologizing in a way because his fantasy was violated. And so, Bashir's like, she's glad she understands, and Dax says, "Of course I do. I was a young man once." Of course, Dax is then saying, "But she really is submissive, isn't she? Is that what you want, me to be submissive?" And then the fake Dax comes in saying, "I'm not submissive, am I?" Oh, and then fake Dax says, I'm just not the cold fish you are. And she's getting ready to fight. They're going to fight. They're not going to fight. But it would have been nice if they did. Oh, so fake Dax is saying she should appreciate Julian. Yeah, maybe Julian should just put in for some time off and enjoy his imagination. Maybe tell real Dax to go back to ops. So Dax found something similar, and apparently the rupture ended up destroying an entire star system centuries ago, or a century ago. So, over half the people on Deep Space Nine have reported manifestation of their thoughts. That would be total chaos. The station would be drifting. It would have exploded. God forbid, half of everybody's actual imagination came to life. Everybody would be dead. There'd be no... what could they possibly be imagining? Rumpelstiltskin. Why hasn't something else happened? Why hasn't he imagined some self-sealing stem bolts? Self-sealing stem bolts. That won't do any damage. This is really like Ghostbusters. If somebody imagined the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, there'd be a 100-foot Stay Puft Marshmallow Man roaming around Deep Space Nine. Uh-oh. Rumpelstiltskin says to O'Brien that he's afraid of him. And O'Brien says, you're just a figment of my imagination. You don't scare me. And Rumpelstiltskin is saying, you can't deny how this imagination of yours empowers me. Can you? O'Brien doesn't want to hear it. Self-stealing stem bolts. I keep saying self-stealing. It's a tough one. Ms. Lundell says it was a Vulcan screw-up over 100 years ago. So they're trying to do something to seal this Thoron breach. So Dax is saying there's negative reading on all sensors. Could be some type of fold in space. And they bring it up on sensors. It's drawing in all matter from surrounding space. It sounds like a black hole. So Sisko comes out of ops and the baseball player is waiting for him. The baseball player asks if Sisko wants to play a few innings, and Sisko's like, I'm trying to tell you, you're on a space station in the 24th century. And the baseball player's like, I don't understand. I know who I am. I feel right. So the baseball player throws the ball to Sisko. Now, is that his ball or is that Sisko's ball? Or has that ball become the baseball that Sisko always has with him? Oh, now the baseball player got pissed that Sisko said that he wasn't the best at something. And this is where he said he could have played 5 more years if they hadn't killed the game. And Sisko says, you were the best that ever was. I know, I played with them all. And he's saying, Ben, it really meant a lot to me how much you cared. There were only 300 people in the stands. And Cisco says 301 in my version. I guess he didn't take Jake. So the baseball player says, I heard you cheering. I just thought you should know. I appreciated it. Which is actually a really cool thing. And now Cisco throws the baseball back over to the baseball player. And now we're at Rumpelstiltskin, the baseball player, and Dax all appear out of thin air in like some room somewhere. And they're all talking amongst themselves and saying that we haven't made any progress. But the baseball player says, oh, I've made some progress. And so now we find out for the first time that these are aliens. And Rumpelstiltskin, like, how much more time should we devote to this? And apparently the baseball player is in charge. He's like, as much time as it takes. It ain't over till it's over. And so we know now that they're actually aliens pretending to be, various people. Of course, we only see the three main ones. We don't see whoever was the emu. Or I assume there's an alpaca somewhere on the station. Or any of the other, or the two women that Quark had. Where were they? Why weren't they in that meeting? So they're talking about this other rupture and whatever happened to it, and Dax is like, it reached a critical mass, imploded, and disappeared from normal space. So that's a bit ridiculous. Rock Solid says, I'd love to play Connect the Spots with Jadzia. Real or fake, all good. I think Sassy agrees. Sassy, tell them to move. Somebody parked in front of our house. Bastards. She'll stop in a second. Somebody parked in front of the house, that's why. So Cisco's like, we got to seal this thing. It's going to destroy our system if we don't. So Cisco gives everybody the game plan, says the Smiths, they all got to go out and do their things. So there's the emus. So Kira is telling Odo they're going to evacuate the pylons. I don't know why. Like, why does it matter? Wesley says, Bird of Prey, wouldn't Quark just imagine a ton of money or platinum? Well, latinum, but no. Apparently Quark was more interested in women than money. So I think that says something. And now Kira is imagining a terrible fire and people burning, but she's fine. She's fine. That actually is a lot like the Orville episode with Alara, where she was imagining the fire on the spaceship. Of course, this scene was only about 5 seconds long, and not an entire episode devoted to it, but now that I think about it, I see some similarities. Mike Richards says, Rock Solid Jadzia heard you. Miss Lundell would rather spend quality time with Kira. And Life with Matthews says, that guy screaming sounds like Julian. Could have been. Maybe they had Julian actor play it. Emus. And Quark is yelling after Odo, running after Odo. And now Quark is trying to report the two women as missing. Yeah. Everything just disappeared. Oh, the girls are back. The girls are back, but the emus disappeared. So Quark asks Odo what has he imagined? What has he conjured up? And Quark says, I bet nothing at all. Odo says he's been chasing long dead lovers, the prophets, and all different types of things. And Quark says, like I always suspected, a man without any imagination. Odo has had it. No. Odo saying imagination. And he's having the computer run a level 1 security sweep of the pylons. And now Odo is seeing Quark on his little screen, and Quark is yelling, "Let me out of here." Quark is in the brig, and Quark is saying, "Get the Negus here. I'm not spending another minute in this cell." And Quark is like, how did you get in there? And Quark is saying, what are you talking about? You put me in here. And now Odo is smiling. He's like, I guess I did, didn't I? And he shut off the monitor. So Odo's like, yeah, no imagination, ha. I got imagination. So Odo's biggest fantasy at this point, I'm not sure this was their biggest fantasy, just I guess there's one thing they were thinking about at the time would be to have Quark in jail. So now the baseball player is in the quarters with Jake, and he's trying to get Jake to play. He's trying to get Jake to play baseball, and Jake is like, I can't go. I got to finish my homework. And he's like, well, I can't go. If I go to the house suite without finishing my homework, my dad will kill me. Now the alien, because it's an alien, is asking, would he really kill you? And Jake's like, no. So now Cisco comes in. Jake's making up excuses. Oh, it wasn't real Cisco. It was fake Cisco. So, baseball player disappeared, and he learned a little from Jake. Not that humans kill their kids when they don't do their homework. But Jake was able to resist the temptation. Rock Solid says Jadzia greater than Kira, but the intendant, indeed. Miss Lindell says Odo is kind of a square, isn't he? Oh, yes, he is. In fact, Vic Fontaine calls him a square, just flat out in the 7th season. Wesley says Anti-Trekker's dream is to have all Berto Frey 5s in jail and to not have back pain. Probably. We got a good view of the DS9 view screen here. I should use this episode when I do my view screens. That's a great shot of the DS9 view screen. Too bad it's not an HD. So they've got a picture of this, I don't know, whatever in space going on. They're all looking at it. And the aliens are looking at each other. And Dax is still all into Julian. I don't know why she has to be into Julian. I mean, we know they're aliens. She certainly doesn't have to still be into him. Actually, this is the shot I did use in one of my DS9 view screens. So, Kira is saying all the pylons are secured. Everybody's moved to the habitat ring. Why does that do anything? I guess if they needed to put up the shields, they're all in the habitat ring. So now fake Dax wants Jadzia to hold her. She says please, so of course Bashir does. She wouldn't have had to ask please to me, but whatever. So Cisco is going to fire photon torpedoes at this, because of course that's going to solve the problem. And it's going to take a while to get there. 30 seconds. The longest photon torpedo shot ever, apparently. They're waiting to see if it does anything. Sassy girl. So it's been like a minute and a half since the torpedoes actually launched. They finally detonate the torpedoes, and it looks like it worked, but of course it doesn't. It can't work. Wesley, why do you add all to my comment? Anti-Trigger's dream is to have Bird of Prey 5 in jail and to not have back pay. I honestly thought it said all Bird of Prey 5s in jail. I don't know, Wes. I'm so sorry. a little techno babble going on. Let's just blame tachyons. I think it's tachyons. So the rupture explodes, and the station is taking a pounding. Things are shaking. Odo wants to get an update from Ops. Ops isn't responding. Everybody fell over. Yes, I have birdlexia. It's true. I love it. Birdlexia. That's what we're going to call it. Sassy is in warp 9, running back and forth, as you can probably hear.
I want to know, is Thomas Potts there?
Those loud footsteps. I don't know. Thomas Potts, are you still here?
Did he give something to Sassy telepathically?
Mama Prey is wondering if you gave something to Sassy telepathically. Because Sassy is going nuts. I can see her face. She looks like she wants to run. She just wants to run forever. Okay, so fake Dax got hit, I think, in the head, and Bashir's trying to fix her up. I don't think it was real Dax. Might have been. No, it was fake Dax. So the thing is now 300 times bigger than it was before. And no, it's not collapsing. It's getting bigger and rising. It's only minutes before the thing starts expanding again. Cisco's asking for suggestions, and neither O'Brien nor Dax have any suggestion. And Rumpelstiltskin says, I have a suggestion. And he says, yeah, I have powers beyond mortal men, and I can use them to assist you for a price. And he makes Keiko and Molly just appear out of nowhere. So Rumpelstiltskin says he always wanted a daughter. And so Brian's like, you telling me you can seal that rupture out there? And Rumpelstiltskin says, I can spin gold into straw. Straw into gold. I can do that. And he's like, well, I can do anything if you meet my price. And he wants a daughter. He wants Molly. And O'Brien gets pissed at him. And now Cisco has it figured out somehow. Cisco's like, no, he doesn't have to pay anything. I got it figured out. He's like, it all started when you imagined that this was a subspace rupture. Right? You were the one who imagined it. And now Dax realizes, yes, it all came back to me imagining it. This whole subspace rupture is Dax's imagination. And Cisco's like, there's no rupture. We don't have to worry about it. It doesn't exist. End red alert and drop the shields. It's a big gamble. A mighty big gamble he's taking. And we've got to believe it. We have to believe that it's not there. And Cisco's asking Kira, there's still shockwaves? And Kira's like, yes. And he's like, no, there's no shockwaves at all. And Kira looks and says, you're right, no shockwaves. And the station magically stops shaking. And the rift just disappears completely. And it's all gone. And then the last thing that Rumpelstiltskin disappeared. The baseball player disappeared. And then fake Dax is going to be the last to disappear. Yeah. After telling Bashir she had the best doctor in the galaxy. Kira saying none of this makes any sense. Why did they appear in the first place? Dax says, I don't know, could have been related to the elevated Thoron admissions. They're still not normal. But Cisco's like, I just want facts. Just facts. Mr. Miles, chief engineer, is in the house, says first. Welcome, Mr. Miles. Miss Pac-Man says this episode should be called If Jacob Had a Ladder. Okay, I don't know. So, everything seems fine. They don't have an explanation yet. But Cisco's just going to go into his office to the couch and relax for a couple of minutes. Another hard day of work done. And he's like meditating. Legs crossed. And the baseball player shows up. He says, this imagination of yours, it's a very unique thing. So, the baseball player says, we're on an extended mission, exploring the galaxy. We've watched one of your ships come through that hole in space, the wormhole. We've been watching you. So, Cisco's like, well, why don't you just talk to us? And the baseball player is saying, well, we've learned that we don't, not every person trusts the visiting team. So Cisco says, well, I understand that. But was this all necessary? And he's like, we didn't do anything. That was your imaginations that did all that. But you made the imaginations real. It's your fault. You can't get away from it not being your fault, guy. So apparently this alien says, imagination is so rare. Are you aware of just how rare your imagination is? And, okay, that made sense at first, except that every other sentient race in the galaxy we've ever seen in Star Trek has some form of imagination. Romulans, Klingons, Ferengi, even Vulcans have an imagination. And they're maybe the only ones I'd say maybe don't. Even Data has an imagination. Every other species has an imagination. So how is it that humans are the first, or not even all humans, but Deep Space Nine is the first thing they found in the galaxy that had an imagination? Okay, as soon as they got to the Milky Way and found their first inhabited planet, they should have learned what an imagination is. This shouldn't be new to them. So that is a pretty big plot hole. And that's the end. That's the end. That ends on a good note. It ends on a positive note. That they were just explorers exploring the galaxy. And, you know, everything's fine. But that's a pretty big plot hole at the end. They would have found imagination well before Deep Space Nine. Unless this was literally their first mission. But if it was their first mission in the galaxy, they would never have said we're in a deep space assignment. They would have said we just started a deep space assignment. Mr. Miles says even Data has an imagination. Do Borg have imaginations? Well, we know Data has an imagination because Data paints and Data sculpts And Data has named Spot. And Alexander with a $2 Canadian super chat. Let's go, Captain Foley. Foley. Is Captain Foley here? I don't think he is. I think they're doing their own stream. But thank you, Alexander, for the $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you, comrade. Mr. Miles says the Doctor has an imagination. Yeah, he does too. The Doctor has an imagination. Do Borg have imaginations? Well, I would say free Borg certainly have an imagination. Okay, once they're not part of the collective, there's imaginations. I would say the Borg Queen has an imagination. Individual Borg, probably not. Probably not. Mr. Lundell says, all Trek characters, creatures, have imagination because they're created by the imaginings of a human. Well, no, I wouldn't say Tribbles have an imagination. They're a Trek creature, right? I mean, I don't think Targs have an imagination. They're another Trek creature. Miss Pac-Man says, reminds me of the movie Jacob's Ladder. You know, I've never seen Jacob's Ladder, the movie, so I guess I wouldn't know. Alexander says Spot has an imagination. Well, he might. I would venture to guess not. Mr. Mouse's Bird of Prey, or does the individual's imagination become part of the collective? I think it's suppressed, personally. Because I don't think that your individual brain power becomes part of the collective. I think your brain is kind of like shut off for the most part when you're under control of the Borg. Of course, in Voyager, we've seen that when that control waxes for a little bit or becomes less, then people's imaginations and their own identities start to resurface, like we saw in Unimatrix Zero. Miss Pac-Man says, even Pac-Lids have imaginations. They do. I'll grant you Pac-Lids have imaginations. Might not be good ones, but they have them. So I'll be honest, I liked this episode. I really liked the baseball player. I liked fake Dax. I liked the whole setup there with Julian. At the beginning, we thought it might have been Dax. Maybe she had an alien virus or something. I didn't know what it was. The first time I saw this, I was like, well, that's not, I thought it was her, but I didn't realize, I thought she got sick or something, to be honest. So we had that. We had Quark. We had Quark Odo back and forth, which is always good. We learned more about Quark. We learned more about Odo. We learned a little bit more about the Doctor, unfortunately. I would have really loved to see Garak. What would Garak have been imagining? That would have been awesome to see. It would have been great to have Garak. But whatever. You can't put everybody in every episode. I get it. So I thought it was a pretty fun episode. I really liked it.
23 people watching and only 13 likes.
Mama Prey is a little upset. She says, 23 people watching and only 13 likes. Well, maybe 10 people don't like me. It's okay.
Well, they could put dislike.
No, she says, then dislike me. If you dislike me, you do have to just tell me why. That's the only thing I ask. But make Mama Prey happy, and please like or dislike the chat. It'd be much appreciative. Wow, Mama Prey would feel a lot better. Thank you. Mr. Mouse's Josh Street says, if he doesn't believe a Targ or Spot has imagination, he doesn't believe Sassy has one either. No, Sassy definitely has imagination, because I know Sassy dreams. We've seen her in the dream state, barking in the dream and wagging her tail in the dream, moving her legs in the dream. Sassy absolutely has imagination. Multi-Gunman says Dax had the Turtistani virus. Maybe. Actor says, hey, I was just here. I was just to like. Thank you, Actor. It's greatly appreciated. Overall, I'd say this was definitely one of the better Season 1 episodes. it's an overall decent episode, but for season 1, certainly in the better half, probably in the better 25% for me. It's hard to get, but it's, for a season 1 episode, I'd say it's a solid 6. A 6 out of 10 on the Deep Space Nine. Okay. If we do a scale of all Deep Space Nine episodes, I'd say it's right about average. So we'll throw it as a 5. But for a season 1 episode, an average overall episode is better than average. So I'd say it's a 5 on the Deep Space Nine, scale of an average episode, and probably a 6 or even a 7 if we weighted the scale just for season 1. I hope that's not too confusing, but that's what I have to say. It was good. I enjoyed it more than not, for sure. Start comparing it to seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and it's a lot harder to get those higher numbers. But for season 1, hell yeah. Even for season 2, it's not a bad episode. So, and we're most way through season 1 already, so that's pretty cool. And season 2 is going to be lots of fun. And I'm guessing you guys like well, nobody said they didn't like being able to watch it along, so as long as you guys are okay with that, I'll probably keep doing that in the future. Of course, it's only if you watch it live, so next time, guys, God willing, next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do this again, so try to be there if you want to watch along with me. It'd be really cool. And Multi-Gunman says, I agree, it's a 5 out of 10. And if you put it on an STD scale, it's a 9,99999 out of 10. Absolutely. Mike Richards says the Deep Space Bird scale. Mama Prey says, thank you guys. Thank you, Mama Prey. And you guys should know I am working on the next video I plan to put out. Now, things happen. If there's a big news release or something comes on that I got to talk about, then I will put it off. But the next video I am working on are my 5 top episodes of the original series. Since Anti-Tracker did invite us all to weigh in and make our own videos, I am accepting his offer. I sat down today. I had to really, really work hard on limiting it to some specific episodes because there were just so many really good episodes. But just a heads up, and it worked out. I didn't intend for it to work out this way, but I think it's very good that it did. My top 5 episodes are completely different than Anti-Trekker's top 5 episodes. Okay, the top 5 he picked are completely different from the top 5 I picked. I'm not saying he picked bad episodes. Quite a few of them were very good episodes, and they're definitely honorable mentions on my list, and some of my top 5 are honorable mentions on his list, but I have several episodes he didn't mention at all on my top 5. So it's going to be fun. I don't know how long it's going to take because there's going to be a lot of video editing to get it done. I want it to look good, obviously. So we might be a week out. We might be even longer out, but that'll be the next video. You guys should keep a heads up and look for it. Alexander says, I disliked it just for fun. Well, that's fine, Alexander. That's fine. Thank you for telling me why you disliked it. Mr. Miles is calling me a thief. No, Mr. Miles. Anti-Trekker said it himself. He invited us all to go ahead and do this. I would only be a thief if I used your animations and stuff, which I can't because I'm using all different episodes. So I can't steal even if I wanted to. Mr. Miles says, I bet Space Hippie episode is in the favorites. You're just going to have to wait and find out. Josh Street says, we know all your top 5 are the Bird of Prey's in them. Well, considering Anti-Trackers number 1 was one of 2 episodes with a bird of prey in them, and I told you already that that my top 5 are not the same as any of Anti-Tracker's top 5. I don't know what the odds are on that, but there was only one other episode that has a bird of prey in it, and to be honest, the bird of prey is only in it in the remastered edition. It's not in it in the original edition. So, now for those who've listened and heard what I've said before, you might know what I think is the all-time best TOS episode, but I'm not gonna bring it up. For if you don't know, you guys can be surprised. Alexander puts in another $2 Canadian super chat. Says, let's go, Captain Foley. Alexander, Captain Foley is probably live right now on Trek Yards. If you want to say hello to Captain Foley, don't get me wrong, by all means, you can keep giving me super chats. But just for your own sake, you could probably go over to his channel and actually say hello to him. Mr. Lundell says, heading out to Eden. Mr. Miles says, bird of prey is the changeling on your list. I'm not going to discuss the list, but no, the changeling is not on my list. And Mr. Miles, Wesley says, bird of prey, you should do a highlight of the best space engineers moments. Well, I haven't been recording most of the moments. And Mr. Miles says, Corbinite maneuver, cat's paw. And Josh Reed says, yes, Trek Yards is live. Mr. Miles, I'm not going to give away my list. What I will say is that, and I don't think that this is, no, Move Along Home is not on the list. Move Along Home is a Deep Space Nine episode. What I will say is that, as I already told you, Balance of Terror, which was Anti-Trackers number 1, isn't on my top 5, but it is kind of near the top of the honorable mentions. So that's all I'll say. And I'll do this. Honorable mentions, and there's probably like 10 honorable mentions. But Balance of Terror and Space Seed, the Khan episode, both honorable mentions for me. Neither of them made it in my top 5. And it was totally hard. It was really, really hard. Assignment Earth is mentioned. Bird of Prey says, just saying that your top 5 will be a unique experience. Exactly. It will be a unique experience. And with that, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed rewatching Deep Space Nine, recapturing the magic. On a whim today, I was doing research for my top 5 episodes, and I rewatched the TOS episode Journey to Babel. And I'm not going to say where I put it, or if I even put it on the list at all, but there's just a magic. There's a magic about TOS that just doesn't exist anymore. In any whether Star Trek, Star Wars, or any television show, it's a magic that's just been missing from our world for so long. I can't even think of another series like it. And it's why I kind of put TOS, if I was ranking the best series, I hold TOS separate and aside from any other series, even Deep Space Nine, which I'll say Deep Space Nine is my favorite Trek series, but I won't even rate TOS, because TOS is so far high and beyond, and so different from anything else, that it's not fair to judge the others against TOS. Mr. Miles says the Savage Curtain is on his list. Okay. I honestly, I don't remember what that episode is about. Miss Pac-Man says Gorn equals greatest Star Trek moment ever. Yeah, that's gonna be mentioned. Miss Multi-Godman says it was really, really hard. Well, Blistered Health says Trek Yards has a mod that is being too Gestapo. Will remain nameless. Wow. Miss Pac-Man is lolling, asking who. I guess you guys should go find out. Blasted Hell says, God forbid you should make references on Trek Yards. Mr. Miles says, Lincoln in space. Oh, Lincoln in space. Okay. That actually had a great line. Of course, I wouldn't dare repeat it on YouTube. But Tiki of Doom says, TOS is up there with the Twilight Zone for me. Absolutely, Tiki. In fact, I was going to say the Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone, and the TOS, there is some type of magic about these shows. You can't, I'm not qualified to explain it to you. I think the only real way is to watch them. And you know what? Maybe this weekend we'll rewatch a TOS episode. Or maybe I'll wait until I put out my top 5. And then maybe we can all rewatch a TOS episode using this link I used in my Discord. So we can all be in on it or something. Tiki of Doom says TOS there. TOS rules, says Mike Richards. Mr. Miles says Bird of Prey. Pluto's Stepchildren is on your list, I bet. Pluto's Stepchildren probably be on my worst 5 list. I was not a fan. Agnes says, I know what episode of TOS is the worst for Bird. It's the one where Spock left him with neurological damage. That was fake news. I would love discussing top episodes, but let me put the video out first. Then we can do a whole video discussing it. We'll do a Bed Life all about our best and worst TOS episodes. So, okay, guys, thank you again so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the guys who super chatted. Thank you everybody who watched. And thank you everybody who liked or disliked. And I thank everyone. And I really appreciate it. I really like, obviously, Deep Space Nine. Bird hates Plato's stepchildren. Yeah, Plato, not Pluto. Plato's stepchildren because he's bigoted toward dwarves. No, Multigun Man, absolutely not. In fact, I told the story. I was so close to getting a scholarship from the Billy Barty Foundation until they ran out of money. Billy Barty was going to pay for the majority of my college. And Billy Barty, for those who don't know, is a small person. They don't like to be called dwarfs, although Billy Barty probably wouldn't have cared. He died a long time ago. Yeah. And they ran out of money. I guess somebody was probably stealing money from that foundation. Blasted Health gives the live long and prosper sign. Thank you. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper, Blasted Health. And Mr. Miles has gone nuts, obviously. If anybody knows where Mr. Miles lives, please send the authorities out to him. He's talking nonsense. He's saying Voyager is better than DS9. Enterprise is better than DS9. TNG is better than DS9. And DS9 is better than TOS. Okay, Mr. Miles has had some type of, I don't know, if he's got a brain slug, or he's been Borgified. Maybe he's been using the illegal drugs. Smoking a doobie. What'd you say?
No, he's just been editing.
Oh, he's just been editing too much of Anti-Trekker's videos, says Mama Pray. That's her theory. Mike Richards says, farewell from Columbus, Ohio. Multigun says, was Billy Barty a little short? Well, his foundation was. Billy Barty worked for Sid and Marty Krofft a lot. I had no idea. Mr. Miles' doobies are legal there. Well, that's probably why you're smoking too many of them. Mr. Miles says that STD is the... Multi-Gunman says Mr. Miles, STD is the absolute best of all. Josh Reed says Mr. Miles has to watch STD. T. of Doom is saying head injury. And Mr. Miles says STD isn't Star Trek. Sure, Mr. Miles. We believe you. Miss Londell says DS9 is the best Trek series ever since TOS, but... And Wesley says, Bird of Prey, I've always found TOS to be slow and boring. I think it's your generation, Wes. I think you guys just grew up. You grew up with computers too young, and you guys, it scrambled your brains. I think I was probably like the youngest person left that can still appreciate things like TOS. And I didn't get my first computer till 2nd grade. But, you know, if you got a computer before 2nd grade, or there was a computer in your house before 2nd grade, you're probably spoiled. Master Miles says there's a way to do something right, a way to do it wrong, and the Jane way. Yes. Okay. STD gave Blasted Health herpes in his eyes. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that, Blasted. Mr. Lundell says they all looked as Picard as the ideal starship captain. You know, intelligent people can have disagreements over whether Kirk or Picard or Cisco were better. But I don't think anybody can honestly say Janeway was best. Mr. Miles says Windows 98 had just came out. And Mr. Miles says, Bird of Prey, holy crap, you're older than me, and I didn't even get a PC until I was nearly in high school. Well, I mean, some people are a little behind the times. Mr. Miles says, Bird of Prey grew up rich or something. No, Mama Prey really wanted a computer. Yep, she was... Mama Prey was pretty, you know, doing business stuff before I was born, and she wanted to get into computing stuff. So we had the computer early. That was Mama Prey. I don't think Dado Prey probably ever would have had a computer.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had any use for a computer. But yeah, so that's good. So I'm going to end it here, guys, because I can tell dinner's almost ready. Qapla, thank you again. And next week. I'll be on tomorrow at some point. I don't know when yet. Qapla. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon. Without it, you won't get notifications of new videos. Check out BirdoPrey5.com, the new home of everything Birdo Prey 5 on the web. You can also check out my forum at juot.net. I'm also on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Gab. If you'd like to make a donation, check out paypal.me/BirdoPrey5 or on BirdoPrey5.com. Take care.